First off, this is a borrowed presentation by Dottie Woodson, and I've edited just a bit. She had some highly technical slides there, and I couldn't address them, and I didn't want questions that I couldn't answer. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. She's a lot more qualified than I am to do that, and I left my cheat sheet over here, so bear with me a second. This presentation is supported by our regional water supplier, Tarrant Regional Water District. TRWD maintains 4 area lakes and pipelines needed to provide surface water to local water treatment plants so they can clean it to meet drinking water standards for our communities. They also work with many cities in Tarrant County, such as Fort Worth, Arlington, Mansfield, and Euless, and they do not work with Grapevine, we just heard that, to provide water conservation programs to the community. Conservation is an important water strategy to help meet the growing needs of our population. There are currently 2.3 million people in Tarrant County, and it is expected to double over the next 50 years. Just think about that, guys. That is why TRWD supports many programs that help save water through outdoor watering and gardening education. At SaveTarrantWater.com, you might want to take a picture of that. Okay, it's the next slide, I'm sorry. .com, you can sign up for free weekly watering advice custom to your location. If you're a resident of Tarrant County, you can sign up for a free sprinkler system checkup where a licensed irrigator will actually come to your home and provide a comprehensive evaluation of your system with recommendations to reduce water waste. Again, free. There is also an event calendar where you can find information about future classes and workshops. TRWD also partners with organizations like Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Services and Tarrant County Master Gardeners to provide educational programs like this one. Be sure to check out SaveTarrantWater.com and sign up for their free services. I can't recommend that enough. It's really very, very valuable. I've talked to several people who've done the irrigation or their watering system audit and have been very impressed with not only the quality of the people who come out, but with the recommendations. Again, free. There we go. Okay, these I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail. They're busy, but they're very informative. But I want you to notice, look at the yellow and look at the year. That's 2017. And you can see this is, just a United States map. Of course, the yellow is indicating abnormally dry. Now, look at 2022. Wow. We have seen a significant, I'm sorry. I'm burdened with this thing. Let me lean it. We've seen a significant change in our drought conditions. Now look at Texas. Again, 2017. You can see kind of where we're at. I don't know how to use this, so anyway. And then 2022. We've all lived through that. We're not seeing it right now. We're not in a drought situation in Tarrant County at this moment, at least not in the DFW area because we've had all of this rain. But we all know what it's going to look like June, July, and August. This is a very interesting slide. If you look at that top red line, that's where our water supply would look like if we all being the important term, followed good water management strategies. But we have to communicate, that's what we're here doing. Look at the blue line. That's the current supply with no water managements. What you're looking at there is the purple. I don't know, I kind of think it's purple. Purple is the municipal demands. That's us. The bluish is the agricultural demands. That's our farmers and our cattle ranchers who can't afford to grow the hay during the droughts. And then our industrial demand. That's our water usage. It's going up, especially with the rest of those people moving in. During the summer, 35 to 70% of the water used by residential customers goes to water your lawn. And this is not in the slide, this is my add to it. They're watering very inefficiently here. I have seen estimates, and Dick, help me on this one if you've heard differently, but between 8 and 35% of the water is lost when it's by this. Through evaporation, people watering at the wrong time of day, watering in the heat of the sun. You water, then you're not only hurting your lawn, but you're wasting a ton of water. Highly recommend, if you can, do drip irrigation. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But we're here to talk about rainwater harvesting. And this is an apt time to be talking about it because it does seem like we're going to get some more rain later this week. So rush out and get your rain barrels or not. Okay, what is it? It is just the process of capturing and storing rainwater, free water that we get. We had our last big rain that we had this weekend. My rain gauge said 3.25 inches. The airport said, I think, 2.3. Did you have a rain gauge?
Yes, I had 3.5.
Yeah, Dick had 3.5. I talked to somebody else. They live in Euless, the area that I'm from. They had 5 inches in theirs. Does not take long to fill up your rain barrel with that kind of rain. So it's a great method. I currently have 8 rain barrels in my house. I've got them off of every drop-down point. And I try to water I'm a vegetable gardener, and I try to water all of my vegetables with the rainwater until I run out. And then I hope there's another rain, because I don't want to use the city water. We're going to learn why in just a moment. And why do we want to do rainwater harvesting? Well, obviously we save some money, but it also reduces the demand on our water supply. Water is not a commodity that everybody has at all times. I'm remembering, I can't remember what year it was, but in Wichita Falls, if you remember, they were using their brown water and they were recycling it. They had no choice. So, and there are certain areas, I think it's Tucson, Arizona, is now prohibiting people putting green grass in their yards. You can landscape, but you're not going to do it with anything that's going to use a lot of water. And I don't think that we're going to be that far behind, especially if we see the population growth that we're projected to have. Stormwater management, capturing that water, reduces flooding, erosion, and the contamination of our surface waters. So there's lots of benefits. These are just going to be some examples of rainwater capturing. You can do big, you can do small. Am I blocking your view? Oh. Good. That is just a rainwater capture. Again, that I think is in, I was going to say. Yeah, but no, I was trying to think of where it was at. I've seen it. And this one I love. They did a good job, right? 1 million gallons collection there. Okay, captured rainwater. It's not that difficult to do. If you have a downspout, there are other options, but most people do this. You have your rain gutters, you've got a downspout on it. It is salt-free. That's the reason why your plants grow so much better if you've got rainwater versus doing your city water. Your city water has salt in it. We don't taste it, but the plants are aware of it. It's chlorine-free. We do taste that. Calcium-free, and it's as clean as it's filtered as it's coming out. So that's another critical part, and we'll get to that in a moment on building, when we get to building your own rain barrels. Some of the reasons why anybody would want to do it, again, that salt-free water. Sales tax exempt if you purchase the supplies for it. Reduces your water bill. Like I said, if you don't have to, you can hook up your rain barrels to a drip irrigation system and actually water your plants systematically like that. It reduces stormwater contamination and reduces erosion. Think about the reason it's reducing the erosion, obviously, is because you're capturing it instead of just having it run into your yard and making your little gullies that you didn't necessarily want. I don't know that I would put that cistern right in the front of my house, but I'm thinking that's probably a little farmhouse out someplace, and it blends in. And where you can use it, obviously, like I just said, you can use it for irrigation. I don't have mine hooked up to my drip irrigation system. I use just a rain, well, whatever that thing is you carry the water into the plant. I'm having one of my moments, Dick. Thank you, a watering can. Yes, that's why we need global people thinking. Okay, and foundation watering. You know, when we have those droughts, we have to water our foundation. We've got those soaker hoses out there that we're putting to make sure that our house doesn't shift. You can hook that up with your rain barrels to it and let them do it. You can use it in your ponds, your house plants, refill your pools, aquariums, terrariums, and bird baths. We all know these things. Pets water bowl, I wouldn't do that, but that's just me. Wildlife guzzlers, fed livestock, and firefighting. Lots of advantages to capturing that water that we're just sending down into our sewage systems. Rainwater collection. This is, I'll talk through this and I'm gonna let you guys read it because some people learn by reading, other people learn by hearing. But a collection of 1/6 of a gallon per square foot roof per 1 inch rainfall collects 200,000 square foot of the roof of your house times 2,000, thank you. That's why we need global people. Foot roof times 1 inch rain equals 1,200 gallons of water. 1,200 gallons times 32-inch rainfall per year, I'm assuming that's our average, I did not look it up, equals 38,400 gallons per year of saved water. Wow. Not hard to do. Most people's houses are probably bigger than that 2,000 square foot. And sometimes we get more than 32 inches maybe. This collection and roof surfaces, the first one I kind of like it because that kind of addresses that I don't have necessarily gutters. You just need a slant because you want the water to run to a direction and a means of capture. And that's what they've done there. They've got some kind of a little trough and then they've got that hose going down into that little bitty rain barrel. And then you've seen some of the bigger ones, things that are a little bit more systematic. There's lots of ways to do it. I did a class on this at the Bedford Library a couple of weeks ago, and a woman was talking about what she's done is she's taken just a large trash can, and she put net over it, because she doesn't have gutters, and she just gets as much water where it comes off her house the best way, and then she uses her watering can, dips it in, and waters that way. There's lots of ways you can do it. A rain barrel or cistern systematically does it for you and makes your life easier, but you know, you can put a bucket out there. You can capture water. Okay, gutters and down spouts. This is the simplest way. If you've got gutters on your house, you can put your downspout on it. There are the expanding thingies, don't know what they're called. I know where to find them at Home Depot though, that you can gauge and you can guide it to your rain barrel. We have some examples of that here. Or just into the roof valley, if you had that, you didn't have gutters, you could put something to capture your rain there. Storage, we've all seen cisterns, the one in the little farmhouse, are made out of polyethylene, fiberglass, wood, concrete, or metal. They can be above ground or underground. Most of the ones I've seen have been above ground. I wouldn't have seen the ones under. As we've talked, they're available in many sizes and types of material. This is generally what you see for rain barrels. It's 50 gallon. I have some 45 gallons that I've ordered. Most of mine though are 50 or 55 gallon, and they were made from food grade, and emphasis on the food grade storage containers. And we'll go into more detail on that, but you don't want anything that is going to contaminate, especially like I use mine for my vegetable garden. I don't want any contaminants on it. I'm an organic gardener, so the last thing I want to do is introduce something. You used to be able to get these relatively cheaply, but now that rainwater harvesting is becoming more popular, the price has increased a bit. Dick will talk a little bit about that in a minute, not the price, but on that. So if you were to build your own rain barrel, this is just a supply list. Now, you don't have to worry about taking all this data down because I'm going to give you links at the end. Just take a picture of that and you can download it from the AgriLife website. There's a real nice little package that's free you can download that'll give you all the data and all the detail that you will need on what you need to purchase. But I'm just going to go through this quickly just to explain. Of course, you need your barrel of some sort. You need insect netting. This is mosquito netting grade. You want the little tiny. You want the water to go through and not the mosquitoes. You're going to get, if you got eggs in there, they couldn't get out, right? Because when they hatch, they can't get out of it. So that is a critical piece, and you want to make sure that it's adhered appropriately. You need your faucet, because you're going to have to get that water out instead of taking your watering can. You need a drill with a 2-inch spade bit. I don't know what that is. I'm sure I've got one. Or a saw, a jig, or a small hand saw. Silicone caulk. This is important for making sure that your mosquito netting stays down. You need a bulkhead fitting with a 3/4-inch internal pipe thread. You need Teflon tape. And Dick, what would you use the bungee cord for?
That's if you've got, if you're have the whole top off the rain barrel and you wanted to put the netting over the top of it.
Oh.
Bungee cord to hold it down.
Oh, okay. So he's talking about if you happen to have gotten a barrel that does not, you're not drilling a small hole in, it's just the whole top of it. I didn't figure that. Mine all have the small holes. And the cinder blocks. The caulk gun. And the Teflon tape. So you would drill your hole in the top. Measure it first, because you want to make sure it's the size of your drill. Because this is going to be where you're going to put your netting over and trap your rainwater. You're cutting it out. Okay, got my hole in the top, captured my rainwater. Now I've got to put a hole down at the, not totally at the bottom, but about, I think about 4 inches up. I'm not sure of the specificity of that. But you're going to make a smaller one because this is where you're going to put your fittings in with your spigot. I'm going to stop and digress here for a moment. This is the way we have done this forever. You have to be able to get that fitting at the bottom of the rain barrel because that's what's going to affix your spigot. So we used duct tape and a yardstick. Not the easiest method in the world, but doable, by the way. I've done it. But we have a master gardener who was an engineer? Wanda. Yeah, she was an engineer, and she created a tool for us with a heavy gauge wire that works perfectly. So when we do classes, we bring those tools to make. Yeah.
She was a member here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we miss her. She was actually at our last meeting. She came back for it. Okay. So you're taking that yardstick and putting it down here to the bottom. You can see that the maneuvering might be a bit challenging. Okay, now you're affixing your thingy. I don't know what that's called. Got it there. That looks about 3 inches up. You're putting your Teflon tape on there to make sure it doesn't leak. Don't use plastic fittings, by the way, if you can help it. You're just going to have to replace them. And you're going to have to go through that gyration again. So invest in the metal fittings. Putting that on so you can get your water out. Yay. Now, this is critical here because this is what how you're going to fix your netting to it, and you want to make sure that there is no way a mosquito is going to get in there. We all live in Tarrant County and we know what our mosquito problem can be, and none of us wants to invite them in. So mine I put a lot on, but you're just making sure that it's covered really well. And now you're going to affix your netting. We don't use a rag, we use one of those little like paint spatula thingies that are broad, about maybe 3 inches wide. It just spreads it easier and seems to make it less messy, quite frankly. But it's critical to keep your mosquitoes out. If you do end up with it, it's perfectly okay to put a mosquito dunk or a portion of a dunk or the granules in your rain barrel. the little, you can see up there over on the right-hand side above it, that screws off. So you do have another means of putting something in your rain barrel. See, it's got perfectly affixed. Now, there's that extension I was talking about from the gutter down to your rain barrel. And you don't have to put it exactly on the netting. In fact, I prefer not to because I don't want the pressure of it causing my netting to stretch or move, because I have had that happen. I like mine about an inch or two up, so I just fix it, because that, if you've never played with that expanding thingy, it's very easy to adjust or adapt it to whatever height you want. You don't want it so far away that the water runs not into your rain barrel and onto your concrete or wherever, but you don't necessarily want to put it right on it. See that, like more like that, and that's what Dick was talking about, where you might use the bungee cord on that one. You see that they've got the mosquito netting all the way over the top of that barrel. And that's about the way I do mine. I just have it raised up a little bit because I don't want to press, because when that water gets rushing, boy, you can really see it coming out, and it's going to make that thing move. That's a metal one. Mine are all plastic. There, another one. These are nice. These, I purchased rain barrels like that. They're really nice. The whole top comes off, and they're real easier to clean, because it is important to keep it clean. You don't want it messy looking, because you're just going to contaminate your water. These are at ours, right? Our demo garden. In our demo garden.
And we actually had a class, a rainwater harvesting class, where they put all this together.
Yeah. So this is, I call it daisy chaining. I don't know what terms other people use, but it's a way, if obviously, like if we got that 3.5 inches of rain, my rain barrel was filled up probably in 30 minutes, and it rained all day. So what you can do is you can daisy chain yours in an area and just put another rain barrel, and then you capture the water here, and then it flows over into another one. Allows you to, to store more water for your usage, and that's just basically what we're doing there. Just another photograph of it. This is our demo garden. If you've never had an opportunity to come out to Tarrant County Master Gardener's demo garden, I'm doing a little advertisement for it. Again, just another daisy-chained opportunity. We get really creative. I like the little rain barrel there. I think that's probably about a 35, 40-gallon one. The little gray one sitting over here. These, again, daisy chains. You can see where you've got a hose flowing from one to the one to the one. And that's kind of the way I have done mine. I don't have them in my front yard done that way, but I do have them in my backyard done that way. Again, that's just how the water's getting from one to the other. Lots of examples. Some really pretty ones. Not so pretty, but unless you like green. You notice those were all raised. Just think gravity, guys. You've got to be able to get it up so the water will run down, unless you're going to put a pump in them. And some people do put pumps in them, especially if they're going to use it for irrigation, for your drip irrigation. I don't have pumps in any of mine. I just have mine raised on cinder blocks. Okay, of course, elevating your barrel increases the available pressure from the faucet. Sometimes when your rain barrel gets low, so you want to think about how high you've got it up. I have a hose on all of mine, just makes my life a little bit easier. They build wooden. I can't build anything, so I'm a cinder block person. That's kind of cute. I like that. That is very pretty. I like that a lot. It looks to me like a camp shower, though. You know, you've ever gone to a Girl Scout camp? It looks like the shower stalls. This is, again, daisy chained. That's what mine looks like, just on cinder blocks like that. Oh, and this is where, if you do want a pump Pumps are available, as well as timers. I have a timer, I've just never hooked it up. That's the pump in the thing, out of my league. But if you had a big one, this is really important for those of you in an HOA. Sometimes I've heard people say, my HOA won't allow me, the city of Euless won't allow me. Well, they can't not allow you. You can have a rain barrel, you can capture water. The thing to think about it is, I have the prettier rain barrels that I have purchased in the front of my house. That's just aesthetics for me and my neighbors. So, whatever, you can decorate them. I'm going to show you some very creative and lovely photographs of people's decorations on it. The Master Gardeners actually have a contest where we provide the rain barrels to our Master Gardeners who are talented, and they do beautiful designs, and then we auction them off. Decorating your rain barrel. This is the fun stuff. They've got those covered in some kind of, it looks like a mesh fabric to me. But if they were ugly, if they're food grade, you don't necessarily know what color you're going to get. You can get blues and oranges and whites and whatever. And if they're white, you want to paint it anyway because you want to decrease the amount of bacteria that you're going to get in there with the heat. So you want to deflect some of that a bit. These are some, aren't those pretty? Look at them, I love the frog. People are so creative. Isn't that great? I think he's looking at ants. And this one just put up a screen. That's kind of nice. There's a salad place by me that has those screens. I never thought about them for my rain barrels. This one they've actually encased in wood. And look at how creative they've gotten with the spout. Again? They're not going to run out of water for a while. But isn't that cute? I couldn't even envision that. And this one is pretty too. I want that out there with the shower stall. And the butterflies. That's beautiful. Creativity abounds, right? Isn't that wonderful? And that one's gorgeous. Nobody would complain about that in your front yard. That's really pretty. That. I don't know how they get them all to stay on. But isn't that cute? They might complain about that in the front yard. Yeah, I like that one, the old-fashioned barber shop. Okay, how do you maintain these guys? Really, they're very simple to maintain, barring if you got plastic fittings. You just brush off your netting on the top, just keep it clean. One, that makes sure you keep all the water going in and it's not deflecting from the leaves or stuff that's piled on top. Replace your insect netting when it's necessary. Again, this happens, with me, it's probably every 3 or 4 years. Very simple to do. You saw how to do the original. It's the same thing. You just cut your netting, you take your silicone, you affix it. Bleach. Add, sometimes your rain barrel will start to smell if it's set there for, it's getting, all kinds of stuff run off from your roof that's, small enough to go down there. And sometimes if it gets low, it'll start stinking. And you can just use bleach and it gives you the measurements in it. Let's see, what is it? 1 tablespoon per gallon. So it's pretty easy to figure out the math on that. I was just telling Dick what I do is I use the chlorine tabs that you have for your swimming pools. Not that I have a swimming pool, but I did have a pond in my front. And I just throw one of those in there. It's very, very simple. And you would put that in if you have, the ability to get it in there. If you had a rain barrel that only had your mosquito netting on top of it and did not have that I need to take this off and put in my dunk, that's how you'd put it in. Watch your weather and distribute water before a new rain event. Now, what's this mean? Well, like I said, my vegetable gardens are in my backyard, and I water predominantly with the rain barrels in the backyard for my veggies. So the front, I don't use those. I use those for the pots that I have in my front yard because I don't have grass. But if it's going to rain, what I try to do is keep my barrels evenly distributed because I want them all to be full when the rain is stopped. So in other words, if I've got an empty one in the backyard and one in the front, and it rains, I'm going to fill up the back one, but I'm not going to put any more in that one in the front because it's already full. So that's what they're talking about. Try to evenly distribute it. I got really creative one time, and I thought, I'm going to make sure that I use all of them at the same time. Well, I didn't have that enough energy to walk all the way to the front yard every time, so. But it's really handy if you do. And watch, okay, do not collect water when leaves or catkins are falling. I don't adhere to this. That's the do as I say and not as I do kind of thing. I collect rainwater whenever it rains. And keep your gutters and downspouts clean. This is obvious if you've got a gutter. We all know this. It does not have anything to do with collecting your rainwater. It's protecting your home. And if the barrel is full when a freeze is expected, take a little bit of the water out. Everybody knows when it freezes, it expands. And you don't want to damage your barrel because it can push up and it can push out on your spigots and things like that. So just take some water out of it, And that's just the tax exempt form, which of course you can download. And they're going to tell that's exactly where to get it. I think that's cute.
Can you go back one slide?
Certainly. Well, I think I could.
Did you darken the screen? There's another button for that.
Well, I didn't mean to. Well, I'm gonna give it to the person who owns this toy.
If you stop. Remember which slide it was?
Go back to the last one before the last. While she's doing that, are there any questions that we can address for you?
I have one. How often should you totally clean out your rain barrel?
They recommend that when it's emptied, you rinse it, drain it. I'm going to be honest, this is another do as I say and not as I do. I don't.
I don't either.
Yeah. It's cumbersome for me to begin with, thank you. And so I don't. But I do use, like I said, if it gets stinky, I do put those chlorine tabs in there. Now I'm going to back this up. Okay, is that what we needed? Okay, good.
Another question?
Yes.
Is there a reason we don't put the spigot like on the bottom and leave those 2 inches of rainwater in the bottom?
I don't know the answer to that question. Dick?
The sediment will go to the bottom of the barrel
Oh, that makes sense.
to allow enough for the sediment that's going to come in with water goes into the barrel.
What Dick was saying, in case you didn't hear that, is the sediment will go to the bottom of the barrel, and that just is giving you some room for that. Because there is going to be sediment. Think about the stuff that falls off your roof. I have a couple of rain barrels that that I've purchased that just have it looks like a drain strainer. You've all seen them, they're round, probably about 4 inches. There's an indentation that sets on the top of the hole. And when I go out after a good hard rain, that thing is full of junk that has fallen off of my roof. So with this case, it's really easy. You just take it and you shake it out. I try to remember to put it in the compost pile, but I don't always make it.
Question is back.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I did ask Cindy Harris about Grapevine having a rain barrel building workshop, and she said that she's going to look into it.
Oh.
So we might hear something about it soon.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, ma'am.
I saw on Ask This Old House, and they were putting in a rain barrel, and they, instead of having the rain go through the top of the barrel, they had it come into the side. And I figured that would cut down on your mosquitoes getting in.
So they cut a hole in the side and then they have the
Near the top.
downspout affixed?
To the hole.
Huh, that's interesting. I have not
I had
seen
not
any
seen
done
that
that way.
The first rain barrel I bought, you know, it actually gave me a piece that I inserted in the gutter, in the downspout, and there was a place to hook it, and that hooked right to my barrel and filled it from the side.
Ah, okay,
But I don't know that they make them like that anymore.
okay. Well, that's interesting. I have not seen one like that.
And it got clogged with leaves and stuff like that, so it's kind of a mess.
I don't know if you heard Dick's comment there, but he said his got
Yeah, when you get leaves in there, then it clog up and would get water in there.
it gets clogged. Yeah, because the screening is going to protect a lot of the stuff on it, and that's one of the reasons why you brush it off when it's dry. You get rid of that because you want to make sure that your water goes down through your screen. Yes, ma'am.
I get a little squeamish when we talk about the purity of the water, when you're looking at, most of us have asphalt shingles, petroleum product, and you're putting it in a plastic barrel. I don't care if they call it food grade. So what are your thoughts about
The purity when you've got asphalt shingles on your roof and it's draining down off of there? Because I even get the asphalt kind of like little salt pebbles down, you know, so it's like, how clean could this water be?
Well, it's not potable, obviously, but if you're using it outside, think about what's happening if you don't capture it. It's still running into your yard anyway. Obviously, it's not doing any damage or a lot of people's grass really looks crappy after this year, but I don't know. That's a concern I hadn't thought about. Dick? Any?
I don't see that as an issue.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's an issue.
Yeah, I don't know. But if the asphalt, the stuff, how big is it? Because it's got to get through that netting.
Oh, it's like salt. But I mean, you were speaking of your vegetable garden and feeling really good about how pure this water is, and then I think, well, captured it all in my roof. Gross.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think this organization at TAMU would analyze a water sample if you sent it in?
You can send it to the city to get it analyzed.
So we could find out
If there's a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Roger.
Yeah, generally what they have is they will have a release. Most of mine, right below, about 2 inches below where your filter is, your cover, there is just a way where the water will run out. That's the reason I like to daisy chain them. I know I'm wasting a lot of water because they get full, but you can only put so many rain barrels in your backyard. I think I'm at that max. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Dick. I don't need this anymore, I don't think. Let me go. We can look at the cute little photo. You want that?
I won't need it.
Yeah, okay. You don't need this? I'm going to give this back to you. Yes.
Everybody hear me?
Let me get my cane.
Okay, good.
Grab my cane for me, would you please? Thank you. Let me turn this off. I got it.
Already with everything in there that those people need to build the rain barrel. And usually we'll have maybe 25 people in a class. We've done most of our libraries. I've already done 4 libraries this year. And they work with the city. And the city will reimburse a lot of the cost of that rain barrel, so they're not passing any of that expense onto them. They may charge them $25 or something like that, for it. And using Wanda's tool, it makes it so much easier for them to be able to get that spigot in there. Because with that duct tape, sometimes it's going to fall off in the barrel. Then you got to dump it upside down and get it out. So, in this, that maybe we can get something set up here, or somewhere in one of the libraries or somewhere like that, where those of you that want to build a rain barrel, you'll be able to do that. Did you put on that, do you have that slide with that website?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there is another site, and you may need to write this down. If you go to AgriLife.Learn, that's all one word, small case, .tamu.edu, it will take you to a website that will give you all kinds of free articles on rainwater harvesting and how to build a rain barrel. When you go to that website, you can type in, how do I make a rain barrel? And when you do that, it will give you access to all these free programs. Now, some of them they can charge you for, but the rain barrel one is not charged for. And the first thing that will be there is the blue rain barrel. And you click that, and it's a PDF file, about 4 pages long, has everything that you saw up here, everything you need to be able to do the rain barrels. So it's really a nice thing to do. If you need to forget it.
Website again one more time.
AgriLife Learn, AGRIF, AgriLife. So AgriLife and then Learn, that's all one phrase, .tamu.edu. Okay? If you have questions, contact me. I'll get it for you. Because once you click that, it's going to give you a link. That link will let you load it down. So, okay. Be sure and use if the rain barrel is clear, you would want to cover it with something because you're going to get algae built up in there, if you don't cover it or protect it some way. The blue barrels work fine. The other thing that you can do at the top, once you put that hole in there, usually a gallon pot will fit inside that hole. So another way to get the downspout into the barrel, where it goes to throw the water into the barrel, you put a gallon pot in there, then put your insect netting inside of the pot, and then when you run that blood connector, to your gutter, you just put it right inside of that pot. And that's the way we do it at our school garden. And it works real well. When it gets dirty, you just take the insect netting out, clean it, put it back in. That's another way to do it. But when we do the classes, we always have a using cylinder to do that with. We also have stickers on there to say this is not potable water. Okay, you're not drinking water. Okay. And any other questions about anything? I have 4 of them put together. Mine are hooked at the bottom. And run a hose from one to the other. And I very seldom will run out of water, in the summer because of the way they're hooked up like that. So it's really easy to do. So I really hope we can get, for those of you that would like to make a rain barrel, we can hopefully get a class set up. Okay? All right. Thank you. And thank everybody.